All right, here we go.
You just tell me I don't know what I'm telling you.
Shit.
What was? It did go live. It said go live. Did it just regenerate? Give me a thumbs up if you're good. Let me know if you're not.
All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for my tardiness. I screwed up. I wasn't able to go live on Facebook earlier. I tried a couple of times. It never worked. But we got it up now, and we are good to go. Your Dallas Cowboys are in first place. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Redskins are playing on the television as we speak. It's not going well, or it could be going well, depending on who you are rooting for tonight. And that's what I wanted to get into right now. Who do we want to win tonight? Right now, the Washington Redskins are up 10-7 on the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to give the arguments for both teams to see, who is supposed to win this game. Who do Cowboys fans want to win this football game? And I'm going to start off with why Cowboys fans could possibly sort of want... Now, we don't want either team to win. The best thing that could happen is a tie, because that's one win that is kept out of the column of both of these football teams. But one thing that we could want, if you want the Redskins to win tonight, it is because of their schedule coming up. It is because you control, the Cowboys, control their own destiny. If the Philadelphia Eagles win tonight, that means all the Cowboys need to do is win. Now, another reason, like I said, why you might want the Philadelphia Eagles to win is because of their schedule. Their schedule is not easy whatsoever. They play the Redskins twice. They play them tonight, and then they play them in the final game of the season. And then after this week, obviously, they play the Cowboys next week. See if that game's flexed. That might be a Sunday Night Football game. It is not at this point. Probably will end up being so. And then they play the Rams the week after and the Texans. They could lose 4 straight if they lose this game tonight. So, it's really wishy-washy. You kind of want the Eagles to be done tonight just because this is a team that got hot last year. And we saw what happened once they got hot. They started winning football games, and then it eventually led to them winning the Super Bowl, which is still very difficult to say. What will ease that pain is if the Cowboys, in the year after Philadelphia finally gets a little bit of happiness, if the Dallas Cowboys are able to put a boot in their ass and go out and win their 6th championship. Because then what do the Eagles have to be happy about? They can bring up, oh, you haven't won in 25 years until we win it this year, if we win it this year. But, like I said, they play the Redskins, Cowboys, Rams, Texans. You want, possibly, the Philadelphia Eagles to win tonight because of how difficult their schedule is coming up. Also, they have a bad conference record right now. Their conference record is 3-5. So, even if they have the same amount of divisional wins, which they would if they win this game tonight, right now they're 2-1. A win would take them to 3-1, which would be equal with the Cowboys. But their conference record is much worse than the Cowboys is right now. So, that is one of the reasons why you might want them to win. Why you would want the Redskins to win is because it effectively eliminates the Eagles. First of all, Ari is here. And Ari shouldn't be here. Because Ari just had another child. Congratulations. You are well on your way to catching up to the one and only Uncle Phil, Phillip Rivers, Romo West, with 9 kids. Well, he's got 8 right now, but he's about to have 9. He's about to have a family full of an entire offense, which is just ridiculous. But I am glad that you were here, Ari. I'm glad that we helped each other out getting this stream back up. You're my hero, and I hope you're getting at least a little bit of sleep at night. Now, Terry wants the Eagles to win. I'm asking you guys, who do you want to win tonight? The Redskins or the Eagles? Denise wants a tie. That's what I want. But if you have to choose somebody, Denise, who do you want? What's going on, everybody? Ari says that the Redskins have Mark Sanchez in. Wait, what? Ari, what happened? Why is Mark Sanchez in? I'm not listening. Jason says hello. Hello, everybody. So that's. I'm going to kind of move on from this topic, and we're going to get into the Redskins schedule a little bit. Like I said, it effectively eliminates the Philadelphia Eagles if they win tonight, if the Redskins win tonight. And, you know, their team is depleted. I mean, they have Mark Sanchez playing quarterback right now, if that tells you anything. Their schedule, on the other hand, is not very difficult. I think it's a little bit more difficult than we thought going in. The New York Football Giants are doing good things for the Dallas Cowboys right now, effectively moving their way away from their next franchise quarterback. And with the way that Eli is playing right now, they might start him again next year, which would be great for us. And then they have the Jaguars, who just shut out the Colts, who have been playing very well on offense recently. Redskins' offense is not good. So if that Jaguars defense continues to play well, it could be a long day for the Washington Redskins offense. They might not score a point. And then they have the Titans, who already beat us, have shown that they can win a couple of football games. They beat the Patriots a couple of weeks ago. And it all depends on how that offensive line works, how their quarterback is playing on that day. And then they have the Eagles again. What we want more than anything is for the Eagles and the Redskins to split their series this year. So whether you want one of the two teams to win tonight, maybe you want the Eagles to win tonight, because if they don't, they have no hope going forward. So in that final game against the Redskins, they might not even be playing hard. So I mean, that's just one of the reasons why you might want them to win. I'm gonna go to comments on the other section here. Let's see. McCoy is hurt. Thank you, Jesse. I did not know that happened. I've been trying to get this up and running. Didn't look good, Jason says. You know, that's unfortunate, because I do really like Colt McCoy, like, as a person, as a player. We saw him be an absolute warrior for the Cleveland Browns after multiple concussions. Thought he was probably going to die during that Pittsburgh Steelers game a couple of years ago. Luckily, he didn't. So we'll see how this goes. If this Philadelphia Eagles team cannot beat a Mark Sanchez-led Washington team, we don't have to worry about either team, in my opinion. Eagles, just because I'm in a football pool tonight, Harold. I like that. We got to go with the money. I am hoping for you that the money is good and you guys win. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's get back to some of these comments here on the Phantom page. And let's move on to the next topic. I want to know how you guys feel about Jason Witten in the booth. What do you think about him? I know that there's a lot of there's a lot of criticism about the way that he calls football games, how vanilla he is. There's a lot of cliches in the way that he speaks. He's stiff when you see him, and then there's the wit and the Tess and the Boog and the nicknames, and it's annoying, and I understand that, but Jason Witten isn't even the worst person in that booth, in my opinion. Joe Tessitore, he's not good. Booger is the best out of all three, and that's an issue in itself. But and let's talk about him going up and down the sideline and blocking people's views who paid hundreds of dollars to sit in the front couple rows of these football stadiums, and they have to watch a TV and Booger's fat ass sitting in that chair. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me that they do that. Why not just have a 3-person booth, especially in a new booth with new talent? It's an entire new team without seeing each other, because those visual cues to know when you want another person to talk is important. Now, at this point, they have to say, Tess, what do you think about that? Boog, how do you feel about this? Whit, what did you see there? And that throws the flow off of things. You would rather just be able to have a conversation, have a dialogue. Hopefully, we can get a dialogue going here soon. Hopefully, we're able to figure out some of the technical issues and get my partner, Patrick Kahn, into this. You can follow him on Twitter at Draft Cowboys. You can find him on Facebook at Patrick Kahn. And you can follow me on Twitter at Cowboys_DBM. Please friend request me on Facebook. I would love to talk Cowboys with you on the Facebook timeline. I'm not on it enough. I would like to be on it more. Now let's talk about Winton coming back. I know it's not going to happen. But with things not going well in the booth, with Jeff Swain probably not coming back, how long do you think it would take for him to come back and get back into football shape? Would he be ready for a playoff run? Because it looks like they're going to make the playoffs this year. That's at least the way it looks. So if they're able to make the playoffs, why not have Witten come back and be that third down target, that dump off, that easy throw on those option routes? Because he could come back and do that right away. Now, is he physically ready? Has he stayed physically fit? I sure as hell wouldn't. If I just got out of playing football, I would go nuts. I'd go full Tony Romo, get into golf shape, drinking beer, eating taquitos, and getting pretty large in the stomach. That's what I would do. But we don't know what Witt has done. So I want to get into a different topic now, because that's not a real long one. I just want to know how you guys feel. Would you want to see Jason Witten come back? How do you feel about him in the booth? I don't like him. He can always improve. And we got a little bit spoiled with Romo, because Romo just came in and was fantastic right away. No, not many people do that. You would like to see guys be on the B team for a little while and work their way up. And that's what I'm saying. They threw him into this new situation with an entirely new team, and it's showing right now. Now, what happened on Sunday? Did things go well for the Dallas Cowboys? The short answer is yes. The long answer is hell yes. This Sunday was very good for the Cowboys. First, Ryan Davis says he's not doing a bad job for his first year, but should still be out there grinding with the boys. I agree with that, Ryan. I think that he retired probably a year early. I don't know why. I mean, when you get that job offer, it's hard not to take that up, to get in the Monday night booth right away. I don't know if, for the money he's making doing it, I don't know if I would have turned that down either. Not taking that pounding that you are every day. He turned down the Tennessee job, apparently. I don't know how serious that was, but I think he'll improve. I hope that he gets another shot. I hope that he works at it this offseason and comes back better next season. He's a great guy. He may be stiff and not that well of a sports commentator, but I'd rather listen to him than Joe Buck. William, why do you feel that way? Why do you not like... There's a lot of people that don't like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on the broadcast. Is it the smugness? Because I can understand that. I think Joe Buck is a fantastic guy, fantastic play-by-play guy. But I do understand the snarkiness and the snobbiness, and that comes from being, where he is, how long he's done it, how he was my age. He was 25 when he started in the booth. And when you're doing it for that long and you're at the level he's at now, I understand having the attitude that he has. Now, he's gotten knocked down a few pegs in his personal life recently, so, I've seen a little bit different attitude from him recently. I like him a little bit more than I used to, but I can understand that viewpoint. 14-10 Philly. Yes, they are up now. I just saw that. And Mark Sanchez is trying to lead them on a 2-minute drive. That should be pretty hilarious. They need to give Witt a chance to get acquainted and comfortable in the booth, and I think he should stay retired. Tabitha, I understand that. I think he retired a little bit too early, but now that he is retired, I do believe he should stay. Now let's talk about this Sunday for the Cowboys. The Giants beat the Bears in one of the craziest games I've seen all season. I mean, Odell Beckham not diving on the onside kick. I mean, the Bears scoring to begin with, and then the Bears getting the onside kick, and then scoring again to tie it up. Just ridiculous. I did not see them scoring. And then it was so Giants to do that, to allow that. For Odell Beckham, the diva, not to dive on that football. But they beat the Bears, and that was really good for the Cowboys because it takes the Giants further away from their quarterback of the future in the NFL draft. And it takes the Bears a game down, so now that the Cowboys are only a game out from there. They have a tough game this week. Cowboys playing the Eagles, they could get into that third spot. That third spot could get them, if they win the first game, I mean, they'll play the sixth team in the wild card round, and then they'll play the right now it would be the Saints. It could be the Rams. It's either gonna be the Rams or the Saints. And honestly, I don't really care because I think that the Cowboys match up. Their defense matches up well. I would probably rather play the Saints again than play the Rams. But that's a discussion for when we get to that, into that situation. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Colts, and the reason why I believe that's important is because we have the Colts coming up in the schedule. The Colts have been red hot on offense coming up to this point, and they just got punched in the mouth. They just got shut out by a Jacksonville Jaguars team that gave up 40 to a somewhat, at the time especially, inept Cowboys offense. So, Jaguars might be getting a little bit of their swagger back. The Colts might be getting knocked down a peg. And showing some of their weaknesses that might help the Cowboys when they go to play them in a few weeks here. The Cards buried the Packers, which is good because we hate the Packers because they always spoil us. They always spoil us in the playoffs. We did not want to see Aaron Rodgers, and we won't this year, and I'm happy about that. And Mike McCartney got fired, which I thought had been long overdue. The Bucs beat the Panthers, who are on a total landslide right now. Not playing well at all. Ron Rivera apparently on the hot seat. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in Carolina. It's an interesting situation because, Riverboat Ron taking chances and their quarterback not playing well last week and owning it. And that's kind of what you want to see from Cam Newton. But, that loss helps because even if things go horribly wrong for the Cowboys, they keep getting better and better avenues towards a wild card if they need to. And if an NFC East team is able to win the wild card, if it be the Redskins or the Eagles, I still think you would rather face either of those teams than play the Panthers in the playoffs. And that's why that Bucs win is big. The Seahawks won against the 49ers. That is not a good thing. The Seahawks are playing extremely well, and I think that's another reason why it's pretty important for the Cowboys to possibly get into that number 3 seed, because you do not want to play the Seahawks in the wild card round. They are playing very well. Russell Wilson is playing out of his mind. They are running the football extremely well right now with Chris Carson. Not a team I want to see right now. They have guys who I've never heard of before making plays. So that's a sticky little situation there, and you do not want to play them. The Patriots beat the Vikings, which is another good thing because that takes another team a game further down in the wild card. The Vikings, I believe, were one of the best teams coming into the season. Their defense has not played well. Their offense was not good this past week. Kirk Cousins was in. It was really iffy. They did not look good against the New England Patriots, and that is good for the Dallas Cowboys. And Romo West beats the Steelers, and that's a good thing because we hate the Steelers too. Now, want to get into our next topic, which is what positions should the Dallas Cowboys target in the draft, in your opinion, right now? I want to hear what you have to say. Who do you guys think the Cowboys should target in the draft. I want to hear what players you guys want. I want to hear what positions you guys think they should be targeting. I want to hear what you have to say about the Cowboys going into this next draft. I have a couple positions laid out here. I think they should look at safety. I think that they should look at defensive tackle. I think they should look at the interior of the offensive line because we don't know at this point what is going to happen with Travis Frederick. Maybe you want to talk about possibly putting Connor Williams out at right tackle or groom him to possibly be the left tackle at some point. I don't know, but you need a little bit more depth in the interior just because of that Travis Frederick situation. That probably means you want to look at centers. There are a couple of centers that's not quite as strong as it was last year up to this point, but we shall see. It looks like it will be 4th down and 5. Mark Sanchez just got hit pretty hard, and they knocked the ball down. Thankfully, they will kick a field goal here and be down 1 going into halftime. Now, Steven says, I would love to talk, but gonna watch this shit game. Yeah, I understand that. But it's almost halftime, so you can come and watch me during halftime, Steven. Everybody should come and watch me during halftime. Like I said, safety, defensive tackle, interior offensive line. I don't know if Cole Beasley is coming back, so you might want to look at grooming another slot wide receiver. There are a couple third down guys in this draft. Hunter Renfrow from Clemson has been a big third down target for them for the past, what seems like 8 years. He has been around. He played with Deshaun Watson, was big in that national championship, and is a pretty decent target. And then also you want to look at tight ends. There are a plethora of tight ends, whether you want guys that are able to put their hand in the dirt or if you want to spread guys out and be slot mismatches. You can run 11 personnel still and use a tight end with Noah Brown, who can block as well as some of these tight ends coming into the league already. He holds his weight against offensive linemen, and that's pretty big. I really like what Noah Brown has brought to the team, and I think that he can continue in that role and have a little niche on this team. For safety, there aren't a ton in this class. There's Juan Thornhill from University of Virginia, and then Nasir Adderley is a guy from Delaware who could be a free safety type. But that might not matter because the Dallas Cowboys are probably going to pursue Earl Thomas III quite hard in the offseason. Hopefully they're able to acquire him. Now, are there guys that you would like to see? Do you have any college football crushes that you have from this year? I almost put down quarterback, but you and I, all of you and I, both know Dak Prescott isn't going anywhere as the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Now, the next topic that I would like to get into is a big one. Who are the most important people in the Cowboys organization? Who do you hold in the highest regard? This is players, personnel, owners, coaches, anybody. Who are the most important people in this organization? If you have some sort of ranking, I would like you to rank them in the comments, please. Now, I'm going to get a little bit of water because I am a bit parched. All right. Now, let's get back to it. my number one most important person in the entire Cowboys organization is none other than Will McClay. Will McClay is the most important person in the organization. And I say that he's the most important person in the organization because of the way that the Dallas Cowboys have drafted recently. I mean, it's really been phenomenal. And I'm about to bring it up and just show you guys how good it has been. And not just at the top. It hasn't just been good at the very top. It's been good all the way through. We've found starters all the way down. I mean, it's really been interesting to see. In this year alone, let's look at it. We have Leighton Vander Esch, who's been phenomenal. Connor Williams, who has been a little bit of a disappointment. He got injured. I think that we will see him again before the year is over. Xavier Su'a-Filo has been banged up, has not played well the last couple of weeks because of that. I would like for them to at least let him get healthy. Michael Gallup is coming on and playing stronger every week. Dorrance Armstrong has given you good snaps as a rotational guy at defensive end. Dalton Schultz has come in and looked better as the year has gone on. Mike White, developmental guy. Chris Covington on special teams hasn't really gotten many snaps. Cedric Wilson got hurt. And Bo Scarborough is the only guy not on the football team anymore. That's a very good hit rate already in this draft. 2017 draft. Taco Charlton, not been good. Hopefully that can get better. But that looks like a miss as of right now. Chidobe Awuzie has looked good. These past couple of weeks he has looked much better. He still has some issues, but it's not been awful. And like I said, he's been playing better recently. He might end up being a safety if we don't get Earl Thomas, and that's only because the next guy, Jordan Lewis, was huge last week in the Saints game. He only played 8 snaps on defense, had an interception, almost had 2. And had a couple of big tackles against Alvin Kamara in the open field. He had 1 big tackle against Alvin Kamara in the open field. Charles Tapper, and that was the draft before, I apologize. Ryan Switzer is doing things in Pittsburgh right now. He has been great, but he has found a little bit of a role with the Steelers. Xavier Woods has been huge recently. He has balled out, and that's part of the reason why it's not imperative to go out and get a safety. It's not my top priority because I think that him and Jeff Heath are good enough in that secondary. But you would like somebody who you could complement with Xavier Woods. Marquez White is no longer on the football team anymore. Joey Ivy is not. Noah Brown is getting very good snaps, and Jordan Carell is not on the team either. But you have Chidobe Awuzie, Jordan Lewis, Ryan Switzer's playing okay for another team, Xavier Woods, and Noah Brown. That is 5 guys from that draft who are contributing at least on some football team. We all know it's JJ. He's third round. Now, and then we all know what happened in the draft before. Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Smith, Malik Collins. Tapper never really panned out. Dak Prescott. Anthony Brown is a player on the team. Kayvon Frazier is huge on special teams. So that's why Will McClay is the most important. Because without Will McClay, you don't have these drafts. Because we all know what was happening before those drafts. It was not good. They were a horrible drafting team for quite a long time. Now, number 2 on the list is Ezekiel Elliott. Now, EPA is different, and you'll get the running back doesn't matter crew out there saying that I'm wrong for this, but Ezekiel Elliott makes things go on this football team. And then after him, you have Tank Lawrence, who, without Tank, the secondary doesn't look as good as it does. He instills fear in opposing quarterbacks. He is a damn good football player, and he is going to get paid in the offseason. Now, after him, I have Zach Martin. And I have Zach Martin because you are missing out on Travis Frederick, which is huge. Having Zach Martin there has helped out Joe Looney immensely. Because Joe Looney has to worry about that left guard. And you know, Tyron has to worry about the left guard. But you have guys on each side of that center and left guard when Tyron has been healthy to help those guys out. And that has been huge. A huge help for that interior offensive line. Zach Martin, one of the best football players in the league. Even when he is playing banged up, he has still been a phenomenal football player for this team. After him, I think it's a tie. Not a tie, but I believe that these two guys go together. Chris Richard and Rod Marinelli. Those two minds together, that attitude that those two have, that they work together on this football team. The scheme, the yin and yang with them. Rod Marinelli, not a guy who likes to bring a lot of pressure. Chris Richard, a guy who has helped this football team with that pressure. There's been more blitzing this year than we have seen in recent past, and it has worked out in their favor. That's something that Jalen Smith is very good at, and it has paid dividends at times for this team to get that pressure when we aren't able to get home with just 4. And then the work that Rod Marinelli has done with Antoine Woods. Antoine Woods has been a phenomenal pickup for this Dallas Cowboys team. It's been a very good sight to see. Zach is the best. I absolutely, Adam, I agree with you. Zach Martin is one of the best football players in the league. He is probably the best football player on this team, I would say. We are good now and defense is gelling. If you're making a run, then defense needs to gel in December, and the Cowboys are. I agree with that. The defense is huge. They're playing well, and that is going to be big going into the playoffs. We've seen in recent years, the last 15 years really is mostly good defenses or defenses that are gelling in, December and into January are the teams that are winning Super Bowls. If the Cowboys can keep that going and get the offense going a little bit more, that's going to be huge for them. And then next I have Byron Jones. Byron Jones is my 6th most important guy. He's been absolutely locked down for that left side of the defense. I mean, like I said in the last Deconstructing Dallas is I have a Twitter. It's my banner on Twitter. It's him on the left side of the field, and it's a big red X over the entire side of the field because you just don't throw his direction. You don't want to. It doesn't work. He has been one of the top 3, if not the absolute best corner in the National Football League this year. He is sticky. The only thing he is lacking is the turnovers. If he had 2 or 3, I don't think it would really be a question who the best corner has been this year. Tyron Smith is my 7th most important player. Even with him out, I mean, we've been able to win football games without him, and that's why he is not higher on this list, but it still wasn't pretty. Dak Prescott was still sacked 7 times in this last game. The fact that the Dallas Cowboys won with him being sacked 7 times against one of the best football teams, if not the best football team in the league, getting sacked 7 times is a ridiculous statistic. I mean, it's really crazy that they were able to win that football game with them constantly being behind the sticks. And then number 8, and this might not be popular, but Dak Prescott. Because, and not that Dak Prescott has been amazing this year, but he's still the quarterback, and your backups are still not good whatsoever. You do not want to see Cooper Rush in a football game in the NFL. I would rather see Mike White out there just because there's a little bit of upside there. There's no upside with Cooper Rush. Number 9 is Amari Cooper. The difference that he has made in this offense is otherworldly. I mean, the third down percentage has been absolutely ridiculous. It's really incredible to see them improve that much from 32% to over 50% on third downs up until last week. I didn't see what the numbers were this past week, but it really crazy to see. And the number of his catches that go for first downs, I believe 7 of his 8 this past week went for first downs. He's a first down maniac. His EPA, his estimated points added, is crazy to see. And it's really nice to see a player that was having a bad year get resurrected just from a scene change. And that kind of shows just how bad things are in Oakland as well. My final guy, number 10. This is a bit of a homer pick. What's up, Anthony? How's it going? Like I said, Anthony, biggest Cowboys fan I know. Noah Brown is my 10th most important player. I know, but look at what this run game has done since he's been a part of the football team again. The Tennessee Titans game, not very good. Or no, he was back the week after that game, and it wasn't very good. That first game against the Eagles, they ran well that game, but the run game has continued to do well. And he has continued to be a weapon as a blocker and as a mismatch weapon on the outside in certain situations. So that's, like I said, it's a little bit of a homer pick to put him at the 10th spot because I am such a big fan of his. But I like that toughness that he brings. He's a light end, as John Williams is big on Cowboys Twitter, writes for Cowboys, one of the Cowboys publications out there, and he kind of coined that light end term, and something that Stephen Jones said. Now, my final topic, getting off of the Cowboys for a second here, is the college football playoff. Did they get it right? Ari says, dude, look at Noah Brown's snap counts. He's getting more and more snaps every week. Yeah, and he should be, because this run game is better with him in there, with him lead blocking. Like I've said in the past, Olawale is a fine football player. Olawale does not do for you what Noah Brown is able to do for you. I mean, if you start running play action with him acting as a lead blocker and then going out into the flat, getting him up against linebackers in coverage, it's going to be nasty. And they're going to do that. They're going to start throwing Noah Brown the ball more. Now, Ari says, you are anti-inline tight end, but he can play that spot. They've been using him as Zeke's lead blocker. They could use him. I don't like him playing as an inline tight end because I don't want him to have to, from a three-point stance, have to take on a defensive end without getting a head start. When he gets a head start, when he's at the H-back position or when he's coming in motion and blocking, he has a little bit of momentum, and I'm okay with him blocking last man on the line. But from off of the three-point stance, there's no way giving up, at times 80 pounds to some of these defensive ends. Or not quite, well, in a 3-4 defense, it might be 80 pounds, actually. I don't like that matchup, but him against linebackers as a lead blocker has been phenomenal. Now, the college football playoff, let's talk about this. They got it right. They just did. I'm sorry. I wanted UCF to be in it, but once Mackenzie Milton got hurt, they were no longer deserving because they were no longer anywhere close to a threat. They had to fight their asses off to come back and beat Memphis. You can talk about Georgia being one of the best 4 teams in college football. I agree with that. But it's not just about the 4 best teams. I'm sorry, it's just not. You have to have the resume to back it up, and they just didn't. They had 2 losses. Their best win is LSU. Or their best win is Florida. Excuse me, their best win is Florida. So, you had to go with Oklahoma. Oklahoma, in the Big 12, which they won, they avenged their only loss, which was Texas, in a good Big 12 this year. The Big 12 was the second best conference in college football. You can talk about the Big 10, it wasn't the Big 10. Pac-12 was terrible. ACC was garbage. So, they got it right. And that's all I got. I wanted to bring that up because I am, even more than the NFL, a college football fan. I like watching those guys. I like evaluating college football players for the NFL draft. That's something that we will talk a ton about in the offseason leading up to. I will be in multiple different locations for college football all-star games. I will be at the East-West Shrine game. I will be at the Reese's Senior Bowl. I will be at the Combine, hopefully, and I will definitely be at the draft in Nashville. Just kind of my thing. Let's talk about this. Yeah, well, Chef B, you come on to talk Dallas. I talked Dallas for the first 55 minutes. For 5 minutes, well, I would have talked for 55 minutes, but we got the stream started late. You can come back and we can talk Dallas, or you can listen to all the Dallas talk you want. But this is a well-rounded show, and it's going to continue to be a well-rounded show. Now, Ari, we can have this conversation off air. This has been Deconstructing Dallas. I talked Dallas for quite a bit. If you're coming in just now, I'm sorry. Go back and watch the talk about the Cowboys.